Ladies and gentlemen, children of the interwebs out there, smashing the strong style, Cinephile and Batwoman episode 4, and then episode 5. A little bit behind, had some weather issues last week, a little bit distracted by all that, but here it is now. We're out of the snowpocalypse. We're back to t-shirt weather because Texas. So let's just keep it going. Batwoman episode 4, let us geek about it for a scant few minutes. This episode I liked because it gave us some backstory into Ryan Wilder prior to when she was a foster child. Turns out she was kidnapped and nearly brainwashed by a woman in a van offering candy. Literally, that was the thing. Now the main plot of the story is Ryan's search for a missing boy. He's been missing for two months. Now she was in the midst of hassling a dope dealer because there's a new drug on the street called snakebite, and Ryan was trying to get to the bottom of that. We know from the season 2 premiere and just as things have gone that drugs and the fight against drugs is very important to Ryan Wilder, so this is going to be something that's important to her. So she was in the midst of that. Jewelry store alarm went off. Turns out it was a little boy who said that he couldn't turn on the backlight, so he just used another way. Broke a window in the jewelry store, got Batwoman's attention, and asked her to find this missing boy. Thus Ryan is off to track down and save the boy. Along the way, she gives the creepy candy lady her comeuppance for what she did to her in the past, and the way she used the candy as part of her way to break down her victims is that she would come in every day and take a piece of candy out for every day that went on that nobody came and looking for that particular victim. She tried to break Ryan. She didn't so much end up doing that, but she successfully, I guess, broke this missing boy, shipped him off to the False Face Society. As part of an initiation, he was set up to kill Jacob Kane. Doesn't do it. Batwoman ends up saving the day, saving Jacob Kane, and thus kind of maybe making some inroads to ending the little war that they were supposed to have, out of season 1, and kind of making Jacob rethink his view on Batwoman. Other stuff going on. We have Sophie working with Alice to track down this guy that has something to do with tracking down Kate. You have Jacob putting out a reward for any information for the return of Kate, because he's fully convinced that she's alive. You have Mary, who doesn't think that she's alive. She's just trying to move past, just deal with her grief and move past it. And then you have Luke, who is just eternally optimistic that she's out there somewhere. He doesn't want to pull a Jacob Kane and stop looking for her. Now, some of the, speaking of Jacob Kane, one of the interesting things about this episode was when Ryan was being held captive by a creepy candy lady. Some people came and knocked on the door looking for a missing person. They weren't looking for Ryan, they were actually looking for Beth way back when she was missing. And initially one of the things I didn't like about the episode initially was kind of just the similarities with what happened to Beth, how she was taken in by somebody who, this sort of parental type trusting figure that would brainwash them to their own ends. I didn't like that. Because I was kind of wondering if they were going to go this long way to make this parallel between Alice and Ryan to give them an even footing to maybe they could come to some sort of not so much peace, but just be aligned together, have a grudging respect or whatever eventually. I just did not want that, and that's thankfully what didn't come out of this episode. I like the idea that Mary is trying to move on versus Luke being super optimistic about finding Kate, but it still takes me back to the idea that I do not like the idea that Kate is said to be out there somewhere. Ruby Rose leaving the show just left a cloud over the show, and bringing in Ryan, totally different direction, totally different Batwoman, is supposed to kind of take us away from it. Having Kate out there, as I've said, I think I said in my last video, having Kate out there it just creates this unnecessary, you don't need it. We're trying to move past her, and yet you're trying to keep her there, because are you going to get Ruby Rose back to finish off the storylines? If you are, if the end game results in that and they pull that off, then okay. I understand if she comes in, just formally passes the torch on to Ryan and just skips on out the scene, and they can go on into season 3, which we know is coming, and just with a totally fresh slate and just no Kate whatsoever. If that is the end game, if that is the result, that's what happens, okay. But if it's not, then it's just what we're doing is stupid. We're just hanging on to the past that we don't need to, and it's just affecting the present and the future as far as like the storylines and the narrative and just the characters on the show. We just don't need to do that. It's just, I don't like it. So it remains to be seen what happens, but I genuinely like Javicia Leslie as Ryan, and I want to see what develops with her in this role. I'm tired of already. I'm tired of Kate just being the albatross around the show's neck. Basically, it's unnecessary, and I don't understand why they're doing it. But whatever. It is what it is. We'll see how it plays out in the long run. Oh, and apparently, Alice knows the person that they're trying to track down. That has to do with Kate and the whole Jack Napier painting and stuff like that. Alice knows him. He's apparently going to be a romantic interest. So Alice, crazy bat, stuff, insane Alice is going to apparently have had a love interest. Again, why are we doing that? Are we gonna, I swear if they do some stupid redemption angle with Alice, it just, oh my god, like, not everybody needs to be redeemed. If we go through some long-winded Malcolm Merlin redemption type of stuff with her, I don't know, like, I will lose it. I swear. Not everybody needs to be redeemed. Some people can just stay bad, and it's fine. Malcolm Merlin didn't need to be redeemed. Black Siren on Arrow didn't need to be redeemed. Like, not everybody needs a redemption story. But anyway, whatever. Those are some of my thoughts on the episode, scattered as they often are. What do you guys out there think? Let me know in the comments below. Follow me on social media. We'll get to episode 5 here in a second, and hopefully things don't get worse. They probably will. But, till then, let us geek.